Tonight, before you sleep, I want to ask you something very gently. Have you ever looked around your home at night and noticed how quiet life has become? Not necessarily sad, just quieter. The sounds that once filled these rooms seem farther away now. Perhaps there was a season when dinner conversations lingered late into the evening, when children moved through the house, when phones rang often, when laughter seemed effortless. And now, the silence feels different. Perhaps retirement changed more than your daily routine. Perhaps it changed your sense of purpose, your sense of belonging, your sense of being needed. Maybe tonight your heart feels heavier than anyone realizes. You spent years caring for others, providing, encouraging, supporting, sacrificing, being dependable, being strong, being the person others could always count on. And now, in these quieter years, you sometimes wonder, does anyone still need me? Does anyone remember all those years I gave away so freely? Has life moved on without me? If you have ever felt this way, you are not alone, and you are certainly not forgotten. God sees every hidden tear. God understands what nobody else sees. He notices the moments when you sit quietly, remembering faces you miss. He notices the evenings when loneliness feels a little stronger. He notices the sigh you release when another day ends and the house becomes still. Perhaps there are people you wish called more often. Perhaps there are friendships you miss. Perhaps there is someone whose absence still surprises your heart. Someone whose voice you would love to hear just one more time. Someone who once made life feel fuller, warmer, suffer. And now, sometimes you lie awake, wondering what the years ahead will look like, wondering who will walk beside you, wondering if anyone truly understands how lonely this season can feel. But tonight, before sleep finds you, God wants you to hear something beautiful. You have never been forgotten, not for a single moment. You have never been abandoned, not in your happiest seasons, not in your hardest seasons, not in your seasons of loss, not in your seasons of uncertainty. God remembers every sacrifice, every prayer, every act of kindness, every burden you carried for others. And even now, as the night becomes quieter around you, He remains near, closer than you realize, closer than your fears, closer than your loneliness. Take a slow breath, and another. Let your shoulders relax. You have done enough for today. You do not need to prove your worth tonight. You do not need to earn love tonight. You do not need to carry everything anymore. Tonight is for peace. Tonight is for comfort. Tonight is for healing. And tonight, perhaps for the first time in a long while, you can simply rest in this truth. You are remembered. You are deeply loved. You are precious in God's sight, and He is staying beside you through the night. There are certain kinds of pain that rarely get spoken about, not because they are unimportant, but because they are difficult to explain. Loneliness can be one of those pains. It does not always come from being completely alone. Sometimes it appears while surrounded by people. Sometimes it arrives quietly, after years of being busy, after years of being needed, after years of caring for others. And then one day, life changes. Children build families of their own. Friends move away. Schedules become different. Phone calls become less frequent. The house becomes quieter, and the heart begins asking questions it never expected to ask. Where do I belong now? Does anyone still think about me? Does my life still matter in the same way it once did? If these thoughts have visited your heart, God understands them completely. He understands every hidden ache, every silent disappointment, every moment when you smiled on the outside while feeling unseen on the inside. People often assume that growing older means becoming accustomed to change, as if loss becomes easier, as if loneliness eventually disappears. But God knows that the heart never stops longing for connection. The heart never stops longing to be known, to be loved, to be remembered, and He never dismisses that longing. He welcomes it. He listens to it. He draws close to it. God understands what others cannot understand. He understands missing conversations, missing traditions, missing familiar faces, missing the comfort of simply knowing someone was nearby. He understands the sadness of watching life move forward while wondering where you fit within it. He understands concerns about health, concerns about finances, concerns about the future. He understands the quiet fears that often grow stronger after the sun goes down. Even those who walked closely with God experienced loneliness. David cried out from seasons of isolation. Elijah felt exhausted and overwhelmed. Naomi knew the pain of loss. Even Jesus understood what it meant to feel abandoned by those he loved, yet God never left them, not once. He stayed beside them through sorrow, through uncertainty, through waiting, through grief, and he remains beside you tonight, right here, in this moment, in this quiet room, in this season of life. He has not stepped away. He has not forgotten your name. He has not forgotten the years you spent loving others. He has not forgotten your sacrifices. He has not forgotten your tears. God sees what others cannot see. God understands what others cannot understand. God stays when others leave. Take a slow breath. Allow your heart to rest in that truth. You do not have to pretend to be stronger than you feel. You do not have to hide your loneliness from Him. You do not have to carry every burden alone. Because tonight, God is not distant. He is near, tenderly near, lovingly near, faithfully near. And even now, as your breathing becomes slower and your heart becomes quieter, His presence surrounds you, like a loving father sitting beside his child, watching over you, comforting you, reminding you gently once again, you are not forgotten, you are not abandoned, you are deeply loved, and God is staying with you tonight. There are burdens that many hearts carry quietly, burdens that rarely appear in conversations, burdens hidden behind polite smiles, familiar routine, and the simple words, I'm doing fine. But perhaps tonight, if you listen closely to your own heart, you know there are things you have been carrying for a very long time. Perhaps there is a fear of becoming invisible, a fear that as the years pass, people notice you less, need you less, call less, visit less, and sometimes that fear can feel heavier than anyone realizes. Perhaps you spent decades taking care of others, raising children, supporting a spouse, helping parents, working hard, providing stability, being dependable, being the person everyone leaned upon, and now life feels different. The pace has changed. The roles have changed, and maybe there are evenings when you quietly wonder, who will care for me? Who will stay with me in this season? Who will notice when my heart feels tired? Perhaps there are worries about your health, small aches that linger longer than they once did, appointments that create anxiety, thoughts about the future that seem impossible to ignore. Perhaps there are concerns about finances, questions about retirement, questions about security, questions about how much longer savings will stretch, questions that never seem to disappear completely. And perhaps beneath all of these worries is something even deeper, grief. The grief of missing someone you deeply loved, someone who once shared ordinary moments that now seem priceless. A spouse, a dear friend, a parent, a sibling, someone whose absence changed the rhythm of your days, someone whose voice still echoes in your memory. Perhaps there is an empty chair in your home, a familiar place at the table, a room that feels quieter than it once did, a silence that reminds you of what has been lost. And perhaps there are dreams that never unfolded the way you hoped, plans that changed, expectations that were never fulfilled, prayers that seem to remain unanswered. There can be a special kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying disappointment for many years, an exhaustion that settles deep within the soul. But tonight, you do not have to hide that weariness. You do not have to pretend that you are never afraid. You do not have to convince yourself that you should simply be stronger. God already knows. He knows every burden, every regret, every lonely thought, every silent tear. He understands the questions you do not say aloud. He understands what nobody else sees, and He answers gently, I will care for you. I always have, and I always will. Take a slow breath. Allow those words to settle softly into your heart. You are not forgotten because your circumstances have changed. You are not forgotten because life became quieter. You are not forgotten because people became busy. Your worth has never depended on how often someone calls, or how many people surround you, or how productive you are. Your worth has always rested in this truth. You belong to God. You are His beloved child. You are known. You are remembered. You are treasured. And tonight, He invites you to stop carrying every burden alone, to rest, to lean into His presence, to allow yourself to be loved, because you do not need to carry everything anymore. Tonight is for peace. Tonight is for healing. Tonight is for rest. And God is staying beside you through the night. And perhaps now, as your breathing becomes slower and your heart begins to feel a little less heavy, this is a gentle moment to remember the promises God has spoken over His children, promises that were never meant only for bright mornings, promises that were written for quiet nights, for lonely seasons, for weary hearts, for moments exactly like this one. God knew there would be evenings when you would wonder if anyone truly sees you. He knew there would be nights when memories would return, nights when the silence would feel louder, nights when fear would whisper questions about the future. And because He knew, He gave promises strong enough to hold you. One of those promises is simple, yet deeply comforting. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Never. Not when your home feels empty. Not when retirement has changed your sense of purpose. Not when people become busy. Not when the years move forward faster than you expected. Not when tears come unexpectedly. God remains steady, faithful, present. Even now, He is here beside you, listening, watching over you, holding every concern that feels too heavy for your heart. Another promise gently reminds us, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Notice what God says. He does not say that difficult seasons will never come. He does not promise that loss will never touch our lives. He does not promise that loneliness will never visit us, but He promises something far more beautiful: His presence, His companionship, His unwavering love. You do not walk through these waters alone. You never have come, and you never will. There is also a promise that feels especially precious tonight. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Close, not distant, not watching from afar, close enough to hear every sigh, close enough to understand every hidden sadness, close enough to collect every tear, close enough to sit quietly beside you while your heart heals. And perhaps tonight, your heart needs to hear these words personally, not as something spoken to someone else, but spoken lovingly to you. God is close to your heart, close to your memories, close to your grief, close to your fears, close to your loneliness, close to the places inside you that still ache, and He gently invites you to place those burdens into His hands. Cast all your anxiety upon Him because He cares for you. Because He cares, not because you have earned it, not because you have always been strong, not because you have perfect faith, simply because you are loved, deeply loved, completely loved, eternally loved. And then Jesus offers another promise. I am with you always. Always. In seasons of abundance, in seasons of uncertainty, in seasons of companionship, in seasons of solitude, in youth, in old age, in joy, in sorrow, in the middle of the night. And perhaps you can imagine Him now, sitting quietly beside your bed, not rushing you, not asking you to explain yourself, simply being present, listening, comforting, protecting, holding every tear you never showed anyone else. Take a slow breath and let these promises settle gently into your soul. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not invisible. God knows your name. God remembers your story. God treasures your heart. And tonight, these promises belong to you. For this night, for this season, for this moment, you are safe. You are loved. You are held in His care. And as your heart becomes quieter, perhaps you can begin speaking honestly to Him, sharing the worries that still remain, knowing He is listening, knowing He is near, knowing He is staying with you through the night. Father, tonight, I come before you with an honest heart. I come without pretending, without trying to appear stronger than I feel, without hiding the worries that have followed me into this quiet night. You already know them. You know every anxious thought, every sleepless hour, every concern that lingers beneath my smile. You know the fears I rarely speak aloud, the fears about the future, the fears about growing older, the fears about finances, the fears about health, the fears about spending too many days feeling alone. Lord, you know how easy it is for my mind to become restless when the house grows quiet. You know how quickly questions begin to appear, questions about tomorrow, questions about what lies ahead, questions that seem to circle endlessly through my thoughts. And tonight, I do not want to keep carrying them by myself. I am tired of trying to control what I cannot control, tired of preparing for every possibility, tired of holding on to burdens that have become too heavy for my heart. So tonight, Father, I place them into your hands, the worries about money, the concerns about retirement, the uncertainty about the future, the fears about being dependent upon others, the fears about becoming a burden, the fears about what tomorrow may bring. I give them to you, because you are already in tomorrow. You already see what I cannot see. You already know what I do not know, and you are already preparing grace for the days ahead. Lord, teach my heart to trust again. Teach me that I do not have to carry every responsibility forever. Teach me that my worth is not measured by productivity, not by how much I can do, not by how many people rely on me. My worth comes from being your beloved child. Help me believe that I am still deeply valued, still deeply loved, still deeply wanted, even in this season of life, even in this quieter chapter. Replace fear with peace. Replace uncertainty with confidence. Replace loneliness with the assurance of your presence. Replace restlessness with calm. When anxious thoughts return, remind me gently that I am not alone tonight. When worries rise within me, remind me that you remain near. When I begin imagining difficult futures, remind me that my future rests safely in your hands. Lord, quiet my thoughts, calm my breathing, slow my heart. Bring stillness into the places inside me that have been carrying tension for far too long. Wrap your peace around me, like a warm blanket around a weary soul, like a loving father protecting his child, like gentle arms reminding me that I am safe. Take a slow breath, and another. Let your shoulders relax. You have done enough for today. You have worried enough for today. You have carried enough for today. Now let yourself rest, because God sees every hidden tear. God understands what nobody else sees. God remembers every sacrifice, and God is caring for tomorrow. Even while you sleep tonight, rest now. You are safe. You are loved. You are remembered, and you are held securely in His faithful hands. Jesus. There are nights when loneliness feels especially close, not because there are no people in the world, but because there are certain people we miss, certain voices we still long to hear, certain conversations we wish we could have one more time. Sometimes loneliness arrives quietly. It sits beside us in the evenings. It appears in familiar rooms. It whispers through memories. It reminds us of seasons that once felt full and vibrant. Perhaps there was a time when this home sounded different, filled with footsteps, filled with laughter, filled with ordinary moments that seemed so simple then, yet now feel incredibly precious. Perhaps there was someone who once sat beside you each evening, someone who shared stories, shared meals, shared prayers, shared dreams. And now, there is an emptiness that words struggle to describe. Lord, you understand that ache. You understand what it means to miss someone deeply. You understand the pain of absence, the pain of remembering, the pain of longing for companionship. And you do not ask us to pretend that loneliness does not hurt. You simply invite us to bring that loneliness to you. So tonight, Jesus, when the house feels quiet, be my companion. When memories bring tears, comfort me. When I miss the people I love, remind me that love itself never disappears. It remains. It lives within the heart, and it continues to matter. When I feel forgotten, remind me that heaven remembers my name. Remind me that you know every chapter of my story. You know the years I spent loving others. You know the sacrifices I made. You know the prayers I whispered for my family. You know the burdens I carried in silence. Nothing has been overlooked. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been forgotten. Lord, when I feel unseen, help me feel your presence near me. Walk through every room with me. Sit beside my bed. Remain with me in the stillness of this night. Fill empty places with your peace. Fill quiet moments with your comfort. Fill lonely spaces with the assurance that I am deeply loved. Teach me to recognize that your presence changes everything, because even if others are far away, You remain close, even if relationships have changed. You remain faithful, even if life looks different than I imagined. Your love remains constant, and perhaps tonight, that is enough to know that I do not sleep alone, to know that someone stays, someone listens, someone understands, someone cares. Take a slow breath. Feel the gentleness of this moment. Allow yourself to rest in the truth that you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not abandoned. God sees every hidden tear. God understands what nobody else sees. God remembers your heart. And God is near tonight, closer than loneliness, closer than sorrow, closer than fear. So rest now. You are loved. You are remembered. You are precious in His sight. And tonight, Jesus is staying beside you, holding your heart in His hands, watching over you, comforting you, remaining with you through every quiet hour of the night. Amen. Lord, tonight I bring before you every place within me that still feels tired, every place that still hurts, every wound that never completely healed, every disappointment that quietly followed me into this season of life. You know the weariness that comes from carrying responsibilities for many years. You know what it feels like to give so much of yourself to others, to love deeply, to serve faithfully, to keep showing up, even when your own heart needed comfort. And perhaps now, after so many years of caring for others, there are parts of you that feel worn down, parts that long to be cared for, parts that long to be restored, parts that long to feel joy again. Lord, you see those places. You see the emotional wounds that nobody else knows about, the losses that still bring tears, the regrets that still visit your thoughts, the memories that sometimes feel too heavy to hold, the words left unsaid, the dreams that never unfolded as you hoped they would, the plans that changed, the seasons that ended too soon, and you see the physical weariness as well, the aches, the fatigue, the uncertainty, the moments when the body reminds us that we are no longer as strong as we once were. You understand every concern, every fear, every anxious thought. Nothing is hidden from you. So tonight, Lord, I ask for healing. Heal my weary mind. Heal the thoughts that have been filled with worry. Heal the places where fear has quietly settled. Heal the loneliness that sometimes feels overwhelming. Heal the grief that still lingers within my heart. Heal old disappointments. Heal old wounds. Heal memories that still bring pain. Bring gentleness to the places inside me that have become guarded. Bring peace to the places that have become anxious. Bring comfort to the places that have become lonely. Lord, restore joy where sorrow has lived. Restore hope where discouragement has settled. Restore purpose where I have questioned my value. Help me believe that my life still matters. Help me believe that my story is not finished. Help me believe that there is still beauty ahead, still meaningful moments, still laughter waiting to return, still friendships to enjoy, still blessings I have not yet seen, still peaceful mornings, still unexpected mercies, still reasons to hope. Teach me to trust your timing, even when I do not understand it, even when life looks different than I expected, even when healing feels slow. Help me remember that you are always working, quietly, faithfully, lovingly, like a gardener tending to a precious garden, patiently nurturing new life, patiently restoring what has been damaged, patiently bringing beauty from difficult seasons. Take a slow breath. Allow your heart to soften. Allow yourself to receive this healing. You do not need to rush. You do not need to become someone else. You do not need to pretend that you are stronger than you feel. You are safe. You are deeply loved. You are precious to God. God sees every hidden tear. God understands what nobody else sees. And even now, His healing presence is gently surrounding your heart. Rest now. Hope is still alive. Purpose is still alive. Joy is still possible. And God is caring for every part of you tonight. And perhaps now, after carrying so much for so many years, this can become a sacred moment of release. A moment when you no longer have to hold everything together. A moment when you no longer have to be the strong one. A moment when you can simply rest in the loving hands of God. You have carried responsibilities. You have carried memories. You have carried worries. You have carried grief. You have carried questions that never seemed to find answers. And perhaps tonight, your heart is ready to set those burdens down, not because they are unimportant, not because they never mattered, but because they were never meant to be carried alone. So take a slow breath and imagine, just for a moment, placing each burden into God's hands, onebiwan, without rushing, without pressure, simply releasing them. Give Him the financial burden, the concerns about retirement, the uncertainty about the future, the fears about having enough, the worries that visit you in the middle of the night. Place them gently into His care. Give Him your health concerns, the aches, the appointments, the waiting, the questions, the moments when fear quietly whispers. What will happen next? You do not have to carry those fears by yourself anymore. Give Him your family burdens, the relationships that feel strained, the phone calls you wish would come, the conversations you long for, the disappointments, the misunderstandings, the longing to feel close again. Place those burdens into His hands. Give Him your loneliness, the empty spaces, the quiet evenings, the memories that still make your heart ache, the longing for companionship, the longing to feel deeply known, the longing to feel remembered. Give Him your grief, the people you miss, the seasons that are gone, the dreams that never happened, the plans that changed, the chapters of life you never expected to close so soon. Place them into His loving hands. Give Him your regrets, the words you wish you had spoken, the opportunities you wish you had taken, the moments you wish had unfolded differently. You do not have to carry regret forever. God's grace is greater than regret. His mercy is deeper than disappointment. His love is stronger than sorrow. And perhaps tonight, God is inviting you to stop holding so tightly, to loosen your grip, to breathe deeply, to trust that He is faithful enough to hold what feels too heavy for you. Lord, I surrender what I cannot control. I surrender what I cannot fix. I surrender the years behind me. I surrender the unknown years ahead. I surrender my fears. I surrender my loneliness. I surrender my grief. I surrender my uncertainty. Carry what I can no longer carry. Teach me to trust. Teach me to rest. Teach me to sleep in peace. Take another slow breath, and as you exhale, allow yourself to feel a little lighter. You do not need to have every answer tonight. You do not need to know what tomorrow holds. You only need to remember this. God is near tonight. God sees every hidden tear. God understands what nobody else sees. God remembers you. God loves you. And God is strong enough to carry every burden you have placed into His hands. Rest now. You are safe. You are loved. You are remembered. And tonight, you do not have to carry everything anymore. And now, as this quiet night gently settles around you, there is nothing more you need to do, nothing more you need to accomplish, nothing more you need to prove. You have carried enough for today. You have loved enough for today. You have worried enough for today. And now your heart can simply rest. Take a slow breath. Feel the air filling your lungs. Hold it for a moment. Then let it go slowly. Allow your shoulders to soften. Allow your hands to rest. Allow the thoughts that have been moving through your mind to become quieter, little by little, breath by breath, moment by moment. Tonight is not for striving. Tonight is not for fear. Tonight is for peace. Tonight is for comfort. Tonight is for healing. And as your heart becomes calmer, allow these gentle truths to settle deeply within you. You are loved. You are remembered. You are not forgotten. God knows your name. God remembers your story. God remembers every sacrifice. God remembers every prayer you prayed for others. God remembers every tear that nobody else ever saw. You are precious in His sight. You are valuable. You are cherished. You are His beloved child. Take another slow breath and receive this truth. You do not sleep alone tonight. God walks beside you. God watches over you. God stays when others leave. God remains when life changes. God understands what nobody else sees. God understands what nobody else understands. His love has never grown distant. His care has never faded. His presence has never abandoned you. You are safe tonight. You are held in His care. You are surrounded by His love. Your future rests in His hands. The years ahead rest in His hands. The questions you cannot answer rest in His hands. The fears you have carried rest in His hands. And because they rest in His hands, your heart can rest too. I release loneliness. I release anxiety. I release fear. I release regret. I release uncertainty. I release the pressure to understand everything. I release the burden of trying to carry tomorrow. I welcome peace. I welcome comfort. I welcome hope. I welcome healing. I welcome God's presence. I welcome rest. God is near tonight. God is with me tonight. God remembers me tonight. God holds my future. God protects my heart. God surrounds me with His peace. I am not invisible. I am not forgotten. I am not abandoned. I matter. My life matters. My story matters. There is still purpose ahead. There is still beauty ahead. There is still joy ahead. There are still blessings waiting for me. And even in this season, God is still writing beautiful chapters. Take one more slow breath. Allow your eyelids to become heavier. Allow your mind to become still. Allow your soul to settle into the comfort of being deeply known, deeply loved, deeply remembered. Rest now. You are safe. You are loved. You are precious to God. And tonight, your soul can finally rest in His presence. And now, as this day gently fades into the quietness of night, there is nothing more you need to hold on to, nothing more you need to accomplish, nothing more you need to carry. You have done enough for today. You have given enough for today. You have worried enough for today. And now, dear heart, it is time to rest. Perhaps today felt lonely. Perhaps memories visited you unexpectedly. Perhaps you smiled during the day while carrying an ache that nobody else could see. Perhaps there were moments when you wondered if anyone truly understands what this season of life feels like. But God understands. He always has, and He always will. He saw every sacrifice you made through the years. He saw every meal prepared, every late night spent caring for others, every prayer whispered for your children, every burden you carried so that someone else could feel safe. He saw the years you spent loving faithfully, giving generously, serving quietly, and none of it has been forgotten. Not one act of kindness, not one tear, not one moment of faithfulness. He remembers it all. And tonight, He wants you to know that your life still matters deeply. Your presence matters. Your heart matters. Your story matters. You are not simply living through the final chapters. There is still purpose ahead, still beauty ahead, still moments of joy waiting for you, still blessings you cannot yet imagine, still evidence of God's goodness that has not yet appeared. And even in this quieter season, God is still writing your story with tenderness, with intention, with love. Take a slow breath. Feel your body becoming heavier against the bed. Feel your thoughts becoming softer. Feel your heart becoming quieter. Let the concerns of tomorrow drift away. Tomorrow can wait. Tomorrow belongs to God. Tonight belongs to peace. Tonight belongs to healing. Tonight belongs to rest. And perhaps now, you can imagine God's presence filling this room, not distant, not unreachable, but close, gentle, loving, like a caring father watching over his beloved child, like someone sitting beside you simply because they love you too much to leave. No pressure, no expectation, no striving, no fear, only peace, only acceptance, only love. You are not forgotten. You never were. You are remembered. You are known. You are deeply cherished. God sees every hidden tear. God understands what nobody else sees. God stays when others leave. God remains when seasons change. God remains when homes become quiet. God remains when loneliness feels heavy. God remains through every uncertain year, and God remains with you tonight. As your eyes grow heavier, allow these words to rest softly upon your heart. You are safe. You are loved. You are precious. You are held securely in God's hands. Nothing can separate you from His love. Nothing can remove you from His care. Nothing can diminish your value. Nothing can erase the beautiful story He continues to write through your life. Sleep peacefully tonight. Rest gently tonight. Let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heart become still. You do not sleep alone. God watches over you. God protects you. God comforts you. God remains beside you through every hour of the night, through every dream, through every moment until morning. Light returns once again. May His presence surround you. May His peace quiet your mind. May His promises calm your heart. May His love hold you gently through the night. And as your eyes finally close, remember this truth. You were never forgotten. You are deeply loved. You are safely held. And God is staying with you tonight. Amen.